Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hero Talks. Today we have with us Dr. S.M. Jagadeesh, who is an author of the book Manufacturing Millions. He is not only an author but a business coach who has helped many businesses to scale up and become successful by business coaching. Dr. S.M. Jagadeesh has helped many businesses to scale up and become successful by implementing processes and systems in the business. So let's talk to Dr. Jagadeesh and understand and know more about processes and systems and what it takes to become a successful business. Welcome, Dr. Jagadeesh, to the talk show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shiva.
It's very happy and I'm very happy and glad to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure as well.
You have completed your MBA and after completion of MBA, you could have gone into a management role or a finance or marketing or some other role. So what brought you to business coaching or what motivated you to become a business coach?
See, I started somewhere, there's process implementation from 94 onwards, which was very new in India. And then I had seen the dearth and the challenges that were there in building up the process and systems. And I also knew that there's a shortage of resources. So I thought the best way how I can give back to this community is by trying to share the knowledge and experience what I've got. And that's how I entered from 1998. I'm in this field of consulting and training. And then with that, I also understood the pain areas of the business owners and businesses. And that's where the need for coaching to ensure the business scale up happens for the organization. That I entered the business coaching process.
In the last 2 decades, we have seen the rise of the startup ecosystem and many technology companies. And entrepreneurship has caught up like never before. So what do you think a successful startup or any business should have? What are the key factors any successful startup or a business should have? What do you think?
Yeah, first is I think very important, we should have the clarity on the goals that we have set, what we would like to achieve. And then next very important factor according to me is achieving those goals through the right process and systems. See, ad hoc method or shortcuts will not really give us consistent results. So I think the second very important factor is the process. Third is the focus should be consistent. Many times what happens, we shift our focus from one to other and we don't land up nowhere.
Right.
So it's important for us to work on the vision or goal that we have set. And then that's very important. Consistent focus is again key for success. And next very important aspect is we need to build assets, business partners. Say any business to grow, we require people. And then building them right mindset and trying to see that we grow the business by using the right people can help us to scale up the business as well. So without these things, whatever we do, it can happen, one for a year's time or second year.
Right.
Whenever there's some kind of recession or COVID kind of scenarios, at that point of time, it's very difficult for a business to flourish and grow. But having these fundamentals in place, we can definitely take up any challenge and then see to that we grow and use that as an opportunity rather than looking at it as a pain point.
You have mentioned one point as clarity of vision and goals. So who should have that vision or the clarity of goals? Is it the founders or the promoters or the team members?
Yeah, any business is all about achieving the purpose or the vision what the promoter has got. So initially, with any business, initially the owner should always be clear, have clarity to what level you would like to achieve and why he is doing that business. Why should that business exist itself? Especially in today's competitive world, I feel all the employees, even the organization, should know why that organization should exist. What difference it makes to the world by them existing or not existing. If that clarity is not there, then it's very difficult for aligning the team as well as to flourish in business as well.
From your experience, can you explain, or probably with an example, throw some light on, why certain businesses, succeed like anything, and why some businesses fail miserably?
See, missing on these factors, what I was talking about, in terms of having the vision or having the processes in place, building the right team around them, play a very important role for success. Why they have failed is the one is lack of clarity, then there is the lack of vision. The same opposite will apply there. Okay. But it's very easy to tell it that way. But then also, what happens here, I personally feel it's all about mindset. We all should be having as a business owners, there's no shortcut for success. We need to have the mindset of growing irrespective of whatever challenges we have got. We need to move on and then, without changing the focus. Right. And that is what I think personally I feel most of the companies, when they see some kind of negative scenarios in the market, the people tend to do something else. Right. Rather than having whatever they're working on, the expertise what they have got. And that's a major cause for any failures.
You have mentioned a very nice point, sir, about the mindset of an entrepreneur or a business owner. What is the mindset of a successful entrepreneur or a business owner? Or what do you think should be the ideal mindset of an entrepreneur?
The hungriness for growth. That's any entrepreneur who is hungry for growth will always be successful, no matter whatever may be the challenge he has got. What is missing is that desire, that I need to have and then the goal set should be something beyond the comfort zone. See, any success, we can't see success in a comfort zone at all. So when we are hungry, that the owner or the business owner will never be, in comfort zone. I think that's very important. Mindset point of view, I always feel that play a very important role.
I'm sure in your journey you might have met a lot of business owners or manufacturing companies, etc.
More than maybe 3,000 plus organizations I would have interacted.
So from your experience, what do you think, sir, how is the implementation of processes and systems in Indian companies, particularly compared to Western countries or the manufacturing country like China?
To be very honest, I think as far as systems and processes concerned, not even 10% of companies in India are really following the processes, in the required way, consistently. That is the reason why we feel, or why you see that the growth, only few organizations, even today, even look at the wealth distribution, it's only with top 10%, 90% people's wealth exists. This imbalance is there because of this shortcut. And once they realize, very business owners realize that there is no option for us other than to follow process and system in whatever the journey we have taken up, this gap will always exist. I think that is one of the reason why I feel Indian businesses are not really growing.
Do you think there's already much done in terms of implementation of process and systems, or there is much to be done?
Yeah, there are a lot of governments, especially the present last 10-15 years, when we see there is a push in industry. There's something, our own standard called Z, zero defect, zero effect standard came in. There's a lean manufacturing. So many areas and so many proven tools have been pushed by the government, but then business owners are busy. They don't have time to understand these things and adopt these things in their business. They're all busy in what they know. It's a day-to-day firefighting, what they are in. But unfortunately, if you look at as a country, there are certain areas like Gujarat, then if you look at North India, Delhi, etc., they have maximum utilization of these government schemes, etc. Whereas I see that in South India, generally we are not using this government push to 100%.
Or is it a lack of awareness or lack of cooperation from the government officials itself?
Nothing like that. It's nothing to do with all these things. But then what I personally feel is the culture in South is more,
Okay.
is different, and that has made a difference. I feel like that. Secondly, we are also not really keen on taking government support and building a business. We are trying to build a business with our own capabilities and our own knowledge what we have got. And there's some assumption that okay, when you go take up government, then we need to go behind them.
Right.
A lot of our time, energy will be wasted over there. That's the intent. I personally feel when we interact with business owners, they feel that is the kind of thought process they are all having here, because of which we are not taking lot of government initiatives here bigger way. But the trend should change and will change, and it's only how long these games exist. I'm sure in next 5 years the game will be altogether different, because digitalization is again a very key important thing.
Right.
That transformation is going to happen now in India as well. Secondly, the automation or AI can play a huge role now bringing in change. So I think technology, when integrated with processes, that's going to happen now, whether you like or dislike. At that point of time, I know that the South India can flourish much bigger than other part of country. So they know everything. The challenge is the kind of the systems that exist, people support mechanism that exist, is where the gap exists. The belief system in those are the gaps. But now with technology integration, most of the things being digital, I think with time all these perceptions are going to change.
When you talk about processes and system, right? For someone who is into newly venturing into business or starting a company, setting up a process and system, he might not be aware of it, or it might seem like very lengthy and tedious process, because of which business owners might not be keen in implementing those processes and systems. So according to you, what do you think is the best approach for implementing these, and what are the key factors any business owner should consider while setting up the processes and systems?
No, actually, this process and system is something which can be incorporated in every walk of life.
Okay.
So it's all about we living in it. Only thing is, technically, if I have to put in some key factors, what we should consider while defining the processes. One is systematic approach. Every man know that we should be systematic to grow. Then what is that the process brings in here is a simple step-by-step methodology, which we call as PDCA cycle. That is plan, do, check, and act. So when I talk about plan, every activity needs to be planned properly. As per plan, we execute and check whether the goals have been achieved, vision has been achieved, then bring the necessary changes or improvements that are required. I think this is a very common sense approach. Only thing is, many of us do plan, we do execute, but how many of us are really checking and taking action based on our checks? That is a missing link. Right. So if we incorporate these two things, then I think what we are doing is okay. But then missing of these two things is if you're missing down 50% of the journey. Okay. Like when you have 4 steps, 2 steps you are doing, other 2 steps if you are not doing, then you really don't get the benefit of it. And that's where your belief system doesn't exist. Second very important philosophy today in any process is risk-based thinking. In whatever work we are doing systematic approach, but if we are not considering the risks and opportunities that exist, then again there will be a gap because of the competition, the changing scenarios. Today the risks are different and it's changing from time to time. So it's important for us to incorporate in this risk-based thinking. Next very important factor is your efficiency and effectiveness, which is key for today's business scenario. Then how do we really check this efficiency and effectiveness of process? How we can minimize the inputs or resources that are required so that we get maximum output? That becomes efficiency. And what is the desired goals we want to achieve? That is effectiveness. So I feel we are all moving in the right track, but missing elements is making our life miserable. Right. Okay, that once that is understood, I think these are simple things which each one of us can follow and will follow. Because generally we have that culture. India as a country, we are strong in the culture. So only that this culture, if we can incorporate in our businesses as well, these 3 simple things if we incorporate, we will get 90% of the benefits that we are supposed to get from any process.
Right, right. Entrepreneurs or business owners always chase numbers, maybe because of the competition or the goals to be achieved. So in that process, they might let go of the certain processes and systems as well. So because you have to be competitive, you have to reach certain financial goals, etc. So how do we entrepreneurs weigh or bring a balance between following process and systems, but at the same time reach your financial goals?
No, we are telling you to be agile. That's the need of an hour. You need to be flexible. You need to be efficient. You need to be effective. Now, the no process is a constraint. See, in the process, it should help us to perform better. It is not that we should become slaves of the process, right? So, process should help us to help us perform better. And then being agile is an order of the hour today. Especially the kind of businesses, the kind of expectations, customer expectation, increase in expectation. There is no other option, okay, to be agile. Agile even in our processes, manufacturing or service, delivery, everywhere that is to be brought in. But being agile does not mean you can do in whatever methodology you want. Right. That systematic approach, foundation should be there. Okay, being agile is, for example, you are doing yearly planning, you need to change to monthly planning, you may have to change to weekly planning, or you have to change to daily planning, or you may have to change to hourly planning. Right. That is what is agile, if you are talking. But then you have to do planning. There is no point in, there is no shortcut there. Right. Similarly, in execution, how we are going to change, are going to change the technology, you are going to change your flow, method, resources, whatever. Then in that case, that they should be competent or they should be able to deliver what is intended. Right. There is no shortcut there. So in every step what we are talking, we need to be agile is an order of the hour. If you are not, you are out of the market. Okay, right. I think there is no doubt about it. But there also, you need to follow systematic process. That is, you need to follow plan, do, chicken, act. You need to follow risk-based thinking. You need to have the process approach over there, where you always look for efficiency and effectiveness. So you have worked a lot in manufacturing industries, right, sir? No, all sectors I have worked, but since my background, I am a mechanical engineer, and I have a lot of, what I can tell, connections as well as some kind of love and affection in that area. I primarily focus there. But otherwise, it's just 60%, 40%. The remaining 40% is for other sectors as well. So in those scenarios, right, what are the blind spots which a manufacturing unit or manufacturing business owner should be aware of? Yeah, see, it all depends on so many factors. Manufacturing is a very general word, right? There are some processed industries, there are job work industries, which is a lot of work. No, that is where now every sector has got different blind spots. Like food sector, when you are talking now, since it's something which goes into the human body, the risk levels are much higher as compared to the other products. So, and secondly, legal compliances or the impact of any non-compliances is much more severe. So there, I personally feel there cannot be any kind of shortcuts. The kind of measurement, testings, the kind of laboratories what you use for carrying out the testing, those are very, very important, critical, because 1 inch or one failure there can remove you from the business itself, because it's something of high risk activity. Similarly, each sector today has got different blind spots, and I think it's very wrong for me to tell, okay, this is the only something that exists, but it depends on the kind of manufacturing and then how critical or severe, or how much impact it can have either to human beings or to the environment. As a huge role to play to decide that. You have mentioned hunger as one of the main factors an entrepreneur should have. Likewise, what would you name or what would you say the top 3 factors or qualities for a successful entrepreneur? Yeah, see, one is a belief system. We need to look at what is that the negative things that we are having or we are trying to introspect, and then take learning as a journey, continuous process. That is one I personally feel. Being hungry itself doesn't help us, but then you need to have the mindset of being in learning mode. there's nothing called failure. It's all about learning. So we become stronger and stronger as we experiences. I think that is something which we need to incorporate. Second very important factor for as far as mindset is concerned, it should be a kind of approach what we adopt, because we may talk that people should follow a systematic approach, but then the business owner himself is not systematic. Then what happens? People generally tend to follow my business leader, and then they also will not be, even though we communicate, train, or do whatever it takes, but then people follow the paths of the leader.
Okay.
So that's where I personally feel, before we preach or tell, expect from someone, we should be always in a role model where we are doing all of those things and we demonstrate that, and we always talk and speak in that language. That point of time, what you see, the team members also will be adopting those aspects. So these things, if we are trying to do it in a daily routine, then I'm sure any business can flourish with time.
Now there is a lot of buzz among startups and businesses for raising capital or raising funds from the venture capitalists, or going to IPOs. So what is your take on it, sir? Is it safe for businesses to raise the capitals and scale up aggressively, or be cautious and focus on building a great product or a service and capturing the customers, or capturing the market? How would you differentiate between both, or what do you think is the safest approach, or successful approach? Raise capital and scale up rapidly, or focus more on building a great product or a service?
Business is all about numbers, okay, and also value what we are creating to the society or community. And then when you have growth, it means you can give opportunity to more people, and that's the whole purpose of any business. The business owner also, how long he'll be worried about money? So money is not everything. It's all about how we are helping the community per se. That will be finally the purpose of any business. So we are making a difference by our presence, either in terms of product, or in terms of employment, or in terms of the contribution to the country, GDP. So I personally feel there also adopt the basic principles of what I was talking: systematic approach, risk-based thinking, or a process approach, and then get into that. So because the bigger you grow, bigger will be the opportunity, and then you will be sustainability or stability comes in business. The smaller you are, the stability part is a high risk.
Right.
So I don't feel it is wrong, okay, that what is happening. Only thing is, people should not think that as a weakness today and exploit the situation. So what is important is being a systematic approach over here also is very important. It's good for the country. Otherwise, many times this can lead to a bigger scams later.
Right.
So that will be the fear normally we have, because many people try to take shortcuts rather than really adopting the systematic approach there. And I think that's a fear, but not there's nothing wrong in getting into scaling up business, raising the capital. You can go either get into by private investors or banks, or through public opportunities. Yeah.
The government is very aggressive in making India initiative, and also we are aiming to become the third largest economy in the world. So where do you see, sir, where do you see India in the next 5 to 10 years from now, and according to you, what do you think should be done to reach the goal very quickly?
See, today I think the digitalization and technology are the driving force. Okay?
Right.
So using technology, get digitalized if you would like to survive. Otherwise, next 5 years, if you are not going to incorporate this, you will not be in business. The risk of not being in business itself.
Adapting to latest technology.
We need to adapt to whatever is happening around us. And I feel there is a great opportunity. Under present leadership, I think that's also possible. But then if you don't adopt basic fundamental, there's no shortcuts in fundamentals. So with right fundamentals, if you are trying to build in, I'm sure that can also be achieved. So as an organization, I personally feel get into the race, not a rat race. Get into a race with your vision, your goals, and then adopt whatever is happening around us. Use the technology. Especially today we have AI.
Right.
Which is improving our efficiency and effectiveness. Try to adopt those things. I'm sure there can be big growth what you can see in business.
So, what would be the first step for any company, sir? Let's say any traditional company which has been there, but which has not followed certain processes and system, which is looking forward to bring the change in the whole company, or any startup company which wants to build a great company by implementing the process and system. So, what do you think is the first step towards the initiative?
No, there is no one. Each depends on the organizational way method, how big and small the organization is. But hiring consultant has some advantages. Okay, what is that advantage is you can use your resources and the areas they are expertise in.
Right.
One,
Right.
two, you can focus on the timeline. You want a shorter lead time to build in a process. Having internal resources, it may be challenging for you because the priority is not on these things. Will be on a regular day-to-day activities what you perform. So by hiring a consultant, your lead time can be minimized. You can have a competent person who is working on the job, and without disturbing your existing the operations. Third very important aspect is you can always have varieties of process. Like you can choose whether you would like to go in digital form, whether you would like to go in a process flow chart method, or you want to have a description, or you want to have a pictorial. You can, because the expertise exists with consultant, it's easier for you to decide what method you would like to follow. Whereas when you are building it and using internal resources, whatever the resource is competent for, they are trying to drive that itself. So you may not have something what is latest happening, or you may not have something which is best. You may not have choices to choose the best. Right. Whereas by hiring a consultant, you can make those choices. So otherwise, it's like having internal resources. Cost-wise, it may take less for you, but time is going to increase. But time is money, so I feel that way I would recommend that easiest way. Even though you have resources, use them where you can get more value addition. And then these things you can always outsource as well.
One last question, sir. So from your personal experience, I would like to know which one has been the most challenging company or a case to deal with, and which one has been the most easiest one to implement the processes and system?
See, it's all the culture of the organization. So when you are implementing these processes systems in government organization and public sectors, the challenges are different.
Okay.
And when you are implementing this in MSMEs, the challenges are different. When you are implementing in multinational companies, the challenges are different. So anyway we have to do work everywhere, right. But then there's no common challenge in all the sectors. So it's all about the kind of the culture that exists. The ownership-driven organization works differently. The partnership-driven organization works differently. What I can tell, they have a family history. Family-run businesses work differently. Multinational companies work differently. Government is different. Then your public sector organizations are different. Since we deal with all of these types of industries as well, I always see there are certain things we should be aware of, take precautions while we are deploying, so that we are successful. So that all depends on there's kind of the culture that exists within the organization. We always look at that as a real pain area. Where if it's not easy to get work done from within people, then from external consultant, will it be so easy? It's always no will be the answer, because he's anyway external person. There's no much of impact what he can create within the organization will be the kind of perception. So at that point of time, the way we need to deal with them will be altogether different. Multinational companies work with data. Right. So it's more about putting in a clarity and responsibilities. Who need to do what, play a very important role. In SMEs, a business owner play a very important role, right? So there, what is that he is expecting? If you have clarity and then accordingly try to solve his problem, then most of your problem will be solved. But if you do everything without solving his problem, then that has no impact, where he is not going to support you and you will not see the success there. So I think the challenges are different in different sectors. That is where we play a role in trying to see what could be the best approach, looking at the event. We also, for that, what we do systematically is we do a gap analysis first, where we'll understand the organization, we'll know what is the style of working they are. Then we decide upon kind of roadmap on how do we really take these things forward, what could be the best approach. So that's a case to case, country to country, place to place. All these are varying actually. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and sharing your experience and insights. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. It was also my pleasure to interact. Thank you for giving me this opportunity as well to share my knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.